we are about to go live, and there she is, guys. I am very excited to be chatting with this amazing woman. So, welcome back, everyone, to our weekly interview. My name is Nic Blaize with Beauty Queens Galore, the pageant resource. And today we are chatting live with the one and only Jennifer Lloyd, Mrs. Queen of the World. Before I bring her on the mic, let's just learn a little bit about this amazing and accomplished woman. Jennifer is a multifaceted queen. She excels in so many roles, including mother, wife, entrepreneur, model, producer, and artist in both photography and makeup. Yes, you heard me right. Photography and makeup. So she's used to getting you beautiful as well as snapping amazing imagery. Jennifer recently represented Korea in the Queen of the World pageant, and she proudly took home that title. Jennifer, thank you so much. I feel like I just saw you. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Nic, I'm doing great. I'm mostly excited to be with you here today. The last time we saw each other was at the Global Beauty Awards.
Yes.
Where we had just a moment just to kind of catch up and talk. You've had a lot of adventures just happened, right?
Yes.
You just came back from Bahamas.
Yes.
So I just want to say thank you so much for fitting me into your schedule and allowing me just to kind of speak to your audience and just share my love of pageantry. So thank you so very much for having me.
No, it is, the pleasure is all ours. It is just such an honor. You know, we got a chance to connect in different ways, but this interview forum is what really got us together, and we just continue that connection. And as you mentioned, we did just come back from the Global Beauty Awards, and we had an opportunity to connect, but then also really get to know several people. So let's dive right in. Let's first talk about the Global Beauty Awards and talk to me a little bit about how you got involved with such an amazing event. Give us a little bit of background about what the event is all about.
So I'm a veteran. I've been involved since the very beginning, and y'all don't even know what it looked like in the very beginning. We had very humble beginnings, but I saw the vision and the mission, and I completely believe it. We both know Maureen Francisco. Yeah. Shout out to Maureen. Today's her birthday, actually.
Happy birthday, Maureen.
I know. She's celebrating 25 years old. She's 25 this year.
Wow. And she looks not a day over 24.
I know, right? So yes, I believed in the mission, and I saw the impact that it had on the community, and also the impact it had on our lives and my kids' lives. I'm like, this is an event that's safe for families, but it just celebrates pageantry in such a beautiful way. And I think there needs to be more that happens in pageantry, more celebration. And so, I just decided to dive head deep in because, when you see an opportunity, you have two choices, right? Either you sit back and complain or you get involved and do something about it, right? So that's just how I just got involved. I saw opportunities and I just dove right in. I have to say thank you to Maureen and David Barmarin also for just having an open door policy. I mean, once you're in that circle, you got to take care of that inner circle, but you're also given some amazing connections. And through my involvement with the Global Beauty Awards, I've made some incredible partnerships, some amazing connections and friendships. So that's how it all started.
Absolutely. I love it. And I must say, this was my first opportunity. I had been invited before, but it usually falls right around my youngest daughter's birthday. So I haven't been able to make it. But this year was my first year. Not only was I nominated for 2 awards, but I also had an opportunity to come. And I'm very, very happy I did. It was such a great event. You really summed it up really nicely. It is an event that brings together this industry, whether you are a makeup artist or you're multifaceted like you, a director, a contestant. It really brings the industry together, and it really is a positive event. What was your highlight about the Global Beauty Awards? What was the one thing, if you had to pick just one?
Yes.
What was the one thing? I know it's hard. What was the one thing?
It's so hard. It's so hard. I'd have to say my favorite part about the GBAs this year was seeing the community just needing a space to really celebrate and get together. I think with everything that's going on right now in the pageant community, this was a safe place that we could all gather and celebrate without having to feel like, we're being watched over or you couldn't say the wrong thing. This is a place where we were empowering other people. and also giving women and men the opportunity to network, right? There's so many incredible people in the community that are involved in the medical field. They're attorneys, right? We have people who own businesses, who are designers, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a place where you can come, you can network, and definitely, if you have a dream, it's not too far away because there's someone in that room that can help you level up. Absolutely. That's what I love the most, was the people who are in that room.
Yeah, I loved it. I must say, I really love the summit where everyone got together and you kind of broke into little groups. And you're exactly right. It was something that's really needed in this industry. It really celebrated everyone, as opposed to, there was no separation based on pageant system, based on, experience, or based on who you knew. Exactly. It was literally come as you are, be yourself, and network. And that's one of the things I really, really love. So I agree with you. There were so many highlights, but definitely the opportunity to network and fellowship with everyone. And shout out to David and Maureen. You did a fantastic job. I keep hearing, and you just echoed it, I keep hearing, if you saw us a few years ago, because when I went, I was blown away. It was very organized. It just gave a really, really great opportunity for everyone to feel welcomed and involved. And there was just no negativity. Everything was positive. So I definitely can say a lot went into it. Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
I just want to remind all your viewers too that it's okay to start something new, because a lot of times, you can look at an event and can judge it, right, based on what you see, but you don't understand that it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of years of collaboration, and you just got to start somewhere, right? Yeah. One thing that I really loved about working with Pageants Northwest and the GBAs is that everything is very organized. The team that I work with, they are so dedicated and loyal. These are the type of people that don't count the hours. Maybe they work overtime. I often make a joke that I work 10 jobs because there's always something that you need. And, I know you have experience in production as well. There's so many moving pieces, so you really have to depend on your team members. So throughout those years, we saw growth, but only, with our membership, but also with our team members, just understanding how important this really is. And you got to see that firsthand.
I did.
So
I
happy
really
that
did.
we were there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just kind of sprinkle a little surprise. I cannot wait for everybody to find out who we're looking at for 2025 to be our Lifetime Achievement Award recipient.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be awesome.
Yes. That's
going to be really awesome. You guys have had, and most people in pageantry, they know me in pageantry, but they have no idea my day job, where I work at the CDC. And to see Dr. Connie there, I used to see memos coming down with her name, when we were going through the pandemic. So to actually be there in the flesh, I thought that was amazing. It was just really, really amazing to see that women and men in this industry, we can do anything. We can be anyone. Absolutely. We can certainly leverage different platforms. So I definitely can say that was fantastic. So I don't know how you guys are going to outdo yourself with the next Lifetime Achievement person, because there's so many people. There's so many accomplished people, and I am knocked out the park every single time. But let's switch gears a little bit. Still talking about the GBAs, but let's talk a little bit about the sponsors, because I think sometimes in pageantry, we see the finished product, whether it's that young lady who wins her title and she gets to, the accolades, the crown, the sash. But sometimes the sponsors are forgotten. And can I say, there were some amazing sponsors. My bag, my swag bag was full of just some unexpected surprises. So let's talk a little bit. How do you guys go about figuring out who aligns with the brand that is the GBAs? How do you find sponsors to align with your mission and your brand, and at the same token, have quality items to give to your attendees?
Right. We're so blessed that, for instance, a majority of our sponsors are members. For instance, Lloyd Enterprises is our corporation. We move dirt. We've been moving dirt for over 50 years. And I have to tell a secret, no one's bought a bucket of dirt or a box of rocks from us, okay? But it's because of my involvement that we feel so passionate about giving back. And, you know, that representation, I believe, really encourages other companies to get involved, because we have nothing to do with pageantry except for me, right?
Yeah.
But I look at brands like, for instance, Tomo. I had an opportunity to do some promotional marketing for them, and through that experience developed a really great relationship. So now one of their number one like global ambassadors. And yes, and you know, it's really about building a relationship, and anybody can ask somebody for something, right? But the way to go about with sponsorships is more like, how can I serve you? What are areas that you need help with? And I think asking those pertinent questions really does open the door for a sponsor to say, wow, you know, let me learn more about what you're doing. So I know that the team is really good about building those relationships, because they're really people behind the brands. They're investors who are giving up their money and their products, not necessarily expecting a full return back. Now, I have to say kudos to our media team, because they put a lot of work in. We had a very detailed strategic plan this year as far as like how we're going to execute all the content and the media, because as you know, as a sponsor, it's so very important to get visibility, right? Because otherwise, what is the purpose of it? So kudos to our media team for really executing that, because our sponsors loved it. We are looking for more sponsors. So if
And
you
your
are
guests loved it. We loved it too.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yes. Yes. And I just want to, I want to make note, if you are a business and you're looking to get more exposure, work with an incredible team and network, reach out to the GBAs. We're still looking for amazing sponsors. You know, this year we had a blow dryer girl, okay, with the engine, like the Dyson, okay, like that was over the top, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
Samantha from Chromatique, she is a local business owner. She's been a pageant judge. She's been a sponsor for many years, and she came up with this incredible product, manufactured it, and shared it with us. And so, you know, it's like people like her who believe in supporting young women leaders, supporting pageantry. They're the ones who are making a huge difference. And then we also have, you know, small companies like Closet Flash, for instance. She's been involved for, I want to say, like 6 years. And, you know, she gives her heart into what she gives, and we so appreciate that. So every little thing matters, you know, and we definitely do appreciate it.
Yeah, it definitely does. And before we switch gears and dive a little bit more into you and who you are and what it means to live a day in your life, let's close out. Let's talk a little bit about how a person can sign up to become a member, because you know a lot of things go into, people can sometimes see. Sorry about that. Am I back? I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. This is live. We're fine.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I had my phone in do not disturb, and for some reason, that person wanted to get me, so they called a couple of times. So my apologies, everyone. But what I was saying is, you know, a lot of people, they see people are nominated, they see people getting awards. How can someone be a part of the magic that is the GBAs? Tell our audience how they can get involved, and how, more importantly, how can they become a member?
Yes. Definitely check out the globalbeautyawards.com. Check out the website, learn more about our vision, our mission, learn about the members, take a look at who the presenters are. And if you are interested in nominating someone who's so deserving, or you want to nominate yourself, or even have the opportunity to vote, because, you know, we're set up just like the Emmys, the Oscars. Members vote and members nominate, right? There are a few categories that do not require membership, but you know that you're in a community where people they know what you do, right? And it's really important that once you get involved, that you advocate for yourself, or you advocate for the person that you think is so deserving of an award. But definitely, I encourage y'all to check it out. Go become a member today. You're going to love being a VIP member, because you also get some discounts. You get early bird access to tickets, as well as newsletters. Yes. And then, you know, with that early bird purchase, you also get an incredible swag bag, just like you left with. Right? Yes. I actually ran into a gal, Eileen Stafford, at the airport I just flew in from New York City, and she was telling me she brought extra luggage with her. And I was like, why'd you bring extra luggage? Empty luggage. She goes, oh, because I know I'm going to get a lot of stuff. She's like, I know what's going to happen. So she was right, because literally there was bags, right?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I definitely, it made me also with Tomo, that was actually the first time I've heard of the company, but it's not the last. I started sharing it with my friends and letting them know this is a cause that you want to get behind. So definitely. So please, guys, when you get a chance, check out the GBAs, become a member, and get involved. So let's dive right into why we're all here. Let's get to know you just a little bit better. I promise you won't be in the hot seat. There'll be no questions that are too hard. We're going to have fun. Once again, if you are just joining us, we are chatting live today with Jennifer Lloyd, the newly crowned Mrs. Queen of the World. So let's dive right in. Do you think, and this is me going right in, okay? Do you think that with pageants like Miss USA, Miss Universe eliminating age, as well as married women can now compete, do you think pageants like Mrs. World, Mrs. America, Mrs. Queen of the World, do you believe those pageants will still have a relevancy if other pageants are now eliminating that one title, whereas now anyone can compete together?
I absolutely believe there's relevancy in different organizations and systems. I've competed in America and at World, and I discovered Queen of the World. And this is the first time I've ever stepped outside of the box. And I'm so glad that you asked this question, because I think a lot of women, especially Mrs. Women, they feel really loyal and stuck. And I think it's important to explore other systems, because there's different ways of the operation, I want to say, okay? Like, for instance, with Queen of the World, I love who my director is, Alice Gianetta. She is a boss. She's a boss attorney.
Yeah, I love her.
From New York City. I mean, she is very, very good at organizing her system in her organization, I have to say. I came on board and I was really surprised at how well she has this dialed in. And it's not anything to do with World or America. It's just her personality. She operates with excellence. And I'm a person who's very A-type, so I like to get things done. I like to push out an email. I am very detailed as far as, like, taking notes or just making sure that I accomplish what my tasks are every single day. So working with her team was really refreshing. And I think everybody has a different goal and personality. It's so important that you explore and see what other options you have. Don't feel like you're limited to a certain organization. I think research is so important right now. For instance, as a Mrs., I feel like I am pioneering the way for other Misses. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because a lot of Misses are aspiring to be like a Miss Universe. And I think it's so great that Miss Universe opened up the age group. Yeah. But there's a lot of things you have to do as a Mrs. as far as, like, balancing your schedule with your children. If your children has dance, for instance, that's a task that requires extra help from your husband, right? To take her to and there. You have travel expenses, you have wardrobe expenses, you have hair, you have, photography, all those things you have to come into play, and also your media. Yeah. And I think it's really important for women to really think about the type of organization they're jumping into, because you definitely would want a fair opportunity to win the title, right? To represent and advocate for things that are important to you. But realistically, can you take on that responsibility? And I believe you have to work with a team and a director that is going to give you unlimited support. Somebody that is going to listen to you, that has no bias, someone that is going to advocate for you. Because at the end of the day, you're carrying that title. It's your responsibility. It's your choice how you want the world to see you. No one's going to force you. But if you want to have a fantastic year, if you want to make your year so full, I would really do your due diligence and research on an organization, talk to title holders and find out exactly what that year looked like, how that support feels, because that's going to make a huge difference in how you experience your year.
Absolutely. And you touched on a great point. I think, there's different types of preparation, right? There's preparation as you're getting ready to compete in the pageant. So
Correct.
making sure you have the right gown and interview
Yeah.
prep, walking, all the things that people who are competing sort of kind of know, depending on your experience. But the after, and you really touched on that. You talked about the after, especially for a missus, but for anyone that's competing. The after the title is won, what comes next? So tell us a little bit. You're recently crowned.
Yeah.
And you have not stopped. Like, I'm following your journey. I'm following your journey. You haven't stopped. You're traveling. You're heading to different states. You're really spreading your message. So talk to us a little bit about how you prepared for the title, and then what goes into, I won the title, now what?
Right. I'm actually on a journey to share with everyone about what happens after you get the title, because I always wanted to know, as a contestant, what the title holder had to go through, because some title holders I've seen have done very little, right? Because maybe they had some obstacles we don't know about, right? And then some have really taken off, but they don't talk about the steps. So I'm really trying to show the world what you have to do. So what I've implemented is I have like a schedule. I'm showing my monthly schedule. I'm keeping everybody updated on my stories so that they can see the process, and also following through after an event, telling them like how I'm feeling and what is happening next. It's really important that you have an open discussion as a missus with your husband, I want to say, because financially there is a huge responsibility on the title holder. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys, okay? I have fantastic sponsors who are providing me. I have a gown sponsor this year. Thanks to Caroline, she included that. And I have some wonderful products and items that my director has, curated for the winners. But the expenses outside of that are my responsibility. And so it's so important that you have that open conversation and really think about what your year is going to look like and what you want to accomplish. And for me, I love adventure. This is exactly what I wanted to do. I started my photography business and my makeup artistry business because I wanted to help my clients achieve their goals, right? Once I got involved with my partnership with Dress for Success and other nonprofits, I realized that there's a whole other community of women who need access to good hair and makeup, that needs photography. And I found a great niche with Dress for Success. I'm their official partner. I am helping women have professional headshots for their LinkedIn. And working at the job opportunity fair. Yes, I saw
over that. That is huge.
I was so excited because I'm looking at the demographics and I'm like, oh my gosh, they look just like me. These are immigrants who are coming, women from different communities. Yeah. And I don't care what y'all say. You might be judging a community because of the way they look, but honey, if you want to wear a crown and sash, you got to be comfortable walking into those spaces.
I love it. I love it.
You can't,
and that's not just your look.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And when you're working with these women and you see that they lack the confidence, they don't know how to walk into a job interview or, get in front of a camera. Because I tell you what, as soon as that camera gets in front of your face, you can see a woman just kind of gets really nervous. She gets all uptight.
Absolutely.
Do I look good? She gets nervous. And there's something empowering when you can tell her, you're perfectly made, you're beautiful, you can do this, as you're encouraging her. And then she has a beautiful product. She has a photo that will last her a lifetime, but also get her a job. Yeah. So my goal this year with Dress for Success is to travel to as many satellite offices. I'm going to go to as many affiliate offices and meet and greet and see how I can, help them with their clients as well as their executive teams. I have a meeting with Dress for Success headquarters coming up in New York City on the 22nd, and I'm going to take everybody on that journey with me.
I love
that. Yes. Very exciting.
No, you touched on so many different things. So let's peel back some layers, and let's dive into something that you touched on in terms of transparency. In pageantry can sometimes, I like to call it smoke and mirrors, right? Because the outside world, they see the smoke, the mirrors, the glitz and the glam, but there's so much that goes behind. And you mentioned, as a title holder, sometimes, there are things you have to pay out of pocket, depending on the system, depending on the timing, because people assume one year was very successful, had lots of sponsors. They're assuming the next year is going to be the same. So let's talk a little bit about transparency. Transparency is a title holder. How transparent do you believe a contestant? So it's a little different, right? If you are a contestant and you're getting ready to compete for your dream competition and potentially winning your dream title, how transparent should you be when you are getting ready to compete with that director, with the judges? What do you believe is the right amount of transparency for a young lady or woman trying to compete?
I want to give kudos to all the directors that are out there that are really working hard to obtain sponsors. I've been a sponsor in different systems and worked with all kinds of ladies, okay? I've worked with ladies that are difficult. I work with ladies that are go-getters. It is really important that the title holders represent and help market these sponsors, because if they're not doing that, these sponsors, they leave. It is not about your year. It is about the girl who's after you and the contestants in that class as well. So I want to say the responsibility really does lie on the title holder to obtain and secure more sponsorships so that the next class will have even a greater advantage than what you started. So that's number one. Number two, I want to mention that yes, there is a heavy cost with pageantry. I've heard a rumor that it's a rich girl sport, but I also have to go against that rumor, and I'll tell
I'm
you
against
why.
that. That's not true.
I will tell you
It's
why.
a passion sport.
I will tell you why, because I actually worked with a miss who had a very, very small budget, and she had a big competition to head to. She was selling raffle tickets online and bumper stickers. She wrote me the most persuasive professional letter on a letterhead. And I told my husband, I said, I cannot say no to this young lady.
Yeah.
It takes someone who really wants it, puts the effort behind it, right? Someone who's actionable to make people believe in her. And she was able to go to nationals and be successful and have a great time. I also worked with a young teen. Father's a custodian, and the mother's a teacher. She has zero balance, right? Zero budget.
Yeah.
She is the hardest working young teen I have ever met. Great personality, always trying her very best to be positive, engaging, over the top, and you want to help her. This is the type of person that is showing you that you know what, I can do this, and you start believing, oh my gosh, she could be the next XYZ. So it is very possible, but it really takes a title holder, not just to talk, not just to ask, but someone who comes with action behind those words.
Yeah.
So yes, it is a very expensive sport because there are opportunities out there that you want to do and you need help. But I really think that you have to be a good person and put the work behind it,
I agree. No, I agree. I agree. And I've been on the competitor side, where I was a contestant in my younger years, and the bill was my mom's. And then I found Mrs. Pageants after I got married, and it was myself and my husband's bill. And then I'm also the parent of a competitor or competitors. And so it is expensive, but you're 100% correct. And there is this misconception that yes, pageantry is expensive. We're not going to take that away, but there's this misconception that you have to be wealthy. But I do believe you hit it right on the head. You do have to be wealthy in your spirit,
right,
and in your drive and your determination to
right.
be successful, and having a plan before you jump into pageantry. It's no different than planning out. I always say it's like going to school. When you go to college and you start college,
Yes.
you may not necessarily know what your major is going to be, but at some point you should start to get serious and realize, okay, you know what, I want to major in this. Pageantry is the same. So I agree with you on that. So let's dive into being a Mrs. You are a wife, a mother. You also have businesses. We touched a little bit on your businesses in terms of photography, hair and makeup. How hard is it for you to find balance for yourself? So not Jennifer the competitor, not Jennifer the wife, not Jennifer the mom. And those are some things that we can't necessarily turn on and off. But in a world where mental health is so important, and ensuring that we are really taking care of ourselves, how do you find time for that part of who you are, the Jennifer that lies within? How do you find that balance?
Right. I have limited availability, y'all. so important to you, Nic, you are going to prioritize that, and first of all, my marriage is of most importance to me. So I always make time for my husband and I to connect, because once everything is good there, girl, the world is all happy. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But really, having this title is something that I've always dreamed about. And it's not about the crown and the ceremonial moment. It's actually just being able to use my voice. I feel like I always had this fulfilling like passion, desire inside of me.
And we can see it.
And I like released it. So I'm just like, thank you, Jesus, I'm releasing it out, because it was just all bundled up inside of me. And I know that impact is great, so I feel so energized from it. And I think if anything that you're doing doesn't energize you, maybe it's not the right thing. Maybe you just need to take a step back and go on vacation, because for me, this is joy. This is excitement. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. I get 1 year with this title, and I'm definitely going to make the most of it. So again, just prioritizing what is very important to you is definitely the key. And it's up to you how much you want to put on your plate. And for me, I'm always busy, so this is kind of like my normal day. I'm always a busy person.
And I can tell. I gotta say, I'm an energy person, and just being around you in person, but then also it's one thing if you have that ability in person, right? Some of us, we connect easier in person, but to do it on a live, like, I can feel your energy, I can see your passion. When you talk about this is not something that you're just doing, it's something you're feeling, you're actually feeling it. And I think that it's a true blessing. It really, really is. So if you can talk right now to our audience, once again, guys, this is Nic Blaize with Beauty Queens Galore, the resource page. And I'm speaking to the amazing Jennifer Lloyd, in case you were just tuning in. So Jennifer, talk to us just a little bit. Tell us, if you can talk to a fellow Mrs. title holder, what responsibility would you say, besides having a great year, getting sponsors, as you mentioned before, what do you think is an important responsibility that title holder has when it comes to pageantry?
I think contracts are really important right now, as we're kind of discovering what's happening, right? Right, in our industry, just really understanding what your rights are. And I think what I took out most from my contract with my director, Alice, is that we have to be in good communication. And I think it is so important that the title holder is responsible and accountable, and someone who is going to communicate well with her director, so that there's no miscommunication, right? So I think that is really the most important thing, because truly my year is not possible without her, right? This voice of mine and having this platform would not be possible without her, right? So I think you need to treat people really well, treat them kind, especially the women or your director who is in a position of leadership, right? Because ultimately that relationship, I think, really does rely a lot on how successful your year will be.
Absolutely. And it's like a business, you definitely want your team to support you, and you want to be supportive of your team equally. As you think about, competing, I know you just won your amazing title, and I love Alice. She's a fellow, Mrs. America sister of mine. What's the difference, doing Mrs. World and Mrs. Queen of the World? Since you've done both, what are some of the subtle similarities that you noticed between the two systems, and what are some of the differences?
So what I really love about the Queen of the World pageant is that we have four different divisions, and I love looking at a woman holistically. I don't want to put her in a category where she's aged out, or she may be too dark, or she doesn't look like the queen. Alice's organization is a modern day pageant system. She founded this about 4 years ago, y'all, because we clearly know how important diversity and inclusion is, right? So this modern day pageant system celebrates 4 different divisions. We have the Miss, we have the Ms., we have the Mrs., as well as an elite title holder. And I love seeing this diverse group of women come together and be able to be on that same stage representing themselves so beautifully and come together with different cultures and backgrounds. And I think that's where we're headed as women. I don't believe that we should single out a certain group. And I can speak on behalf of all my sisters who thought they retired because they're like, oh, I'm past 50, I'm never gonna win, but I'm like, no, there's opportunities, And what I love most, and I know you can relate to this, is the sisterhood, right? And there's no barrier.
Yeah.
I mean, I think God
love it.
I really do. Life. It has nothing to do with their background, their culture, or their age, right? So I think it's beautiful that the community of the world has recognized the importance of really holistically looking at the whole woman, right? And that's the difference, the major difference.
Absolutely. So you just led me right into my next question. Is there a right time to start in pageantry? Now that literally age has been blown out the water, and you mentioned Queen of the World being a modern year pageant with 4 different divisions, is there a right time to start in pageantry?
Absolutely. It's never too late to start something new, and that's the motto that I live by. I started in pageantry in my late 20s when I was married, because as a young kid, we grew up on government subsidies. There's no way my parents could afford a pageant entry fee or a gown. Girl, I was rocking tennis shoes that were too tight on my toes. Okay, never would that ever happen. So I think that if you're looking to really push yourself out of your comfort zone and get involved in a community that has positive, uplifting women, it's never too late. It's never too late. I find it so empowering when I see women who are facing their greatest fears, because I remember there were so many times where I felt so debilitated, like I couldn't move on because I didn't fit in, or I didn't look the part, or maybe I didn't feel as smart enough, but I love the fact that this community, women want to mentor you, women want to be part of your journey, because they remember where they started, and that's how I feel. I just want to keep paying it forward, keep paying it forward, because I started knowing zero, but it took women who knew something say, hey Jen, you need to kind of put your shoulders back, put your girls out, twist your hip. That's right. Yes, it took that cycle. That type of mentorship.
And it definitely is a continuation. I've met some amazing women like yourself, and have learned a lot of different lessons that in pageantry that I can apply in my everyday job working in public health. What's the greatest advice? We talked about, a little bit about meeting women and them telling you, put your shoulders back. What is one of the greatest advices that you've received so far in pageantry from someone within this community?
So I've been working with Carrie Damiano for a long time, y'all. I know she's popping out there right now with her media and her traveling, but I knew her when she was not on social media, and she was like, you know what, I want to help you. Let me give you some wisdom. And I remember she told me, and she prophetically said, you have the gift of encouragement. And I was like, who, me? I do? Say what? And ever since she fed that to me, I really trusted her, and I'm more open and I'm more secure about sharing that joy that I have to help another woman feel it, and it's like a good power, that I know that I could use my voice to make her feel confident, or make her feel seen, and make her feel heard. So I think it's like mentors like her, who kind of give you a little gift, right? And then you just kind of run with it. And that's what it is.
I love it. I love it. So, as you mentioned early on, I've been pretty busy. Just got back from the Bahamas judging the Miss Universe Bahamas pageant. And the young lady who actually won the pageant, Sylvanique, I remember reading something on her paperwork that really stuck with me. And it was the question. I'm going to ask you the same question, but it was a question in her paperwork that says, if you were to win, long after your reign is over, what do you want to be remembered for? And she just wrote in just a few words, and it says, to leave this world empty. It gave me goosies.
I got
goosies. it was just so powerful. Those simple words. She wants to, if she were to depart this world, she wants to be able to say she left this world empty. So I'm going to ask you, what do you want to be remembered for if, the world comes to an end today? And your legacy is how the next generation will hear about you and learn about you. What would you like to be remembered for?
I would truly like to be remembered for my kindness, really, because I don't think, first of all, there's enough of it, especially sometimes, in our industry in particular. Okay. But I think that for me, kindness is truly a gift, and I want to be able to leave that as a lasting impact, so that people don't remember me for just the way I look or my presence, but something that I made them feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And by the way, your daughter Lillian says
I
she
know, I know.
loves you.
I love you too,
She
baby.
loves you. I wanted to give her a
I
shout
love
out.
you
That
too.
is
Yes,
so
yes.
sweet, and so supportive. Here at the Pageant Resource, we're always looking at ways to find ways that we can include all aspects of pageantry and beyond, not just pageantry, but just the beauty and entertainment industry. What advice, if as you think about the Pageant Resource, what we represent, what is something that you would like to see more of coming out of our particular platform? What is something that we haven't done yet, or we're doing and you're like, I want more of that? What's something that you would love to see from the Pageant Resource?
I would love for you to spend more time with directors. I think
I love it.
these are leaders who are in the field and front lines, right? They're the ones who deal with the parents, working on sponsorships, issues with contestants. Sometimes they're dealing with the national director. They have legal issues. They struggle like all of us, right? They have family they're trying to balance. And I think it's important to understand their story and their why. I want to know their why, because I know of some directors that give their whole life to serving, and maybe they're not even bringing home, a whole lot, but they are so involved because they believe in the stories, and they feel that they're impacting so many lives. And I'd love to hear more from their perspective of their why, because it really does it takes an incredible leader to put on a production, support their queens for the full year, right, and love on them. And they deserve a lot of praise.
I love that. I really, really love that, because I do think that sometimes directors are the unsung hero,
Yes.
because the title is recognized with the title holder.
Mhm.
And it's title holders like you that really get it. What you just said is, talking about directors. Maureen's a director. Alice is a director. So you're really advocating for directors, and definitely that's something that we will definitely into heart, take to heart, because I know it's not the first time we've heard it. So definitely giving more opportunities for directors. I think it's important, because it is can sometimes be a thankless job. I did a lot of behind the scenes. Trust me, I know. Juggling different states as a director, so I get it, and I really appreciate you advocating for directors. And that's another reason why the GBAs are really important, because it brings directors together to fellowship
Yes.
and to share what are some of the pitfalls, what's working, what's not working. So definitely, I really, really love that. So we're going to, as we close things off a little bit, we're going to play a quick game
Okay.
that I love, 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 because it gives us a chance. Believe it or not, this really gives us a chance to get to know you.
Okay.
So Miss Type A, because that's how you described yourself, right? So I'm going
Miss
to hold
Independent Type A. Okay.
Yes. So I'm going to hold you to this, okay?
Okay.
Which means this game is called
Okay.
This or That, not in between or both. Okay, so you got to choose this or that. You got to pick one. And there'll be some questions that you're like, oh, I kind of like both. Nope, we want one, right? So here we go. Let's dive right in. Are you someone, when it comes to your evening gown, sleeves or no sleeves? We're starting tough. And don't say it just depends. If you had a preference.
I will say sleeves.
Okay, perfect. Ball gown or mermaid silhouette?
Mermaid.
Dress or jumpsuit for interview?
Jumpsuit.
I know it could be tough. What was your answer?
Jumpsuit. Yeah.
Okay.
So much fun.
Yeah. One piece swimsuit or two piece?
Oh, two piece.
Jeans or leggings?
Jeans.
On stage question or interview?
On stage question.
I love that too. That's my favorite as well. That's my favorite. Long nails or short nails?
Long nails.
First pageant with or without a coach? So if a girl's competing for the first time, should she just dive right in alone? So with the coach or without a coach?
With the coach.
All right. Swimsuit or evening gown competition?
Evening gown.
Now you're a busy woman. Sneakers or stilettos?
Girl, I love my stilettos.
I knew the answer to that before I even asked. I promise you. Spend a day watching a pageant or with a client for a photo shoot?
With the client, for sure.
Let's see. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Mm-hmm. Slit or no slit for evening gown?
No slit.
On time or fashionably late?
On time.
I knew that. I knew that. Nude or red lipstick? That's always a debate, right? Nude or red lipstick?
I'm a nudie girl. Say nude.
Yeah. Sash or the crown?
Sash.
Absolutely. Now let's close it out with one last question. This is not part of this or that. This is just a Nic Blaize question. I'm always curious because I think it gives me a chance to get to know you. You are stranded on a deserted island. Mm-hmm. You get to bring 3 things with you. What are those 3 things, and tell us why you chose them?
I would bring my phone, my laptop, and a light.
And a light. Okay.
Yeah, because girl, I'm going to be producing the most incredible media on that island. And you know it's going to have some nice beaches on that island, all right?
I absolutely love it. Well, this has been so incredible. I want to thank you so much, just first of all, for being so warm and just so genuine. I can feel it bouncing off of the walls from the first time I met you to now. You've just been incredible. So I want to thank you so much for giving us your insight. And before we go, I want to ask you to do 2 things for me. If you can share how we can connect with you and follow your journey. You are doing such a fantastic job, and I know you have so much more in store. So if you can share with us how we can stay connected and follow your journey. And then the next thing is, close us out with just, a sprinkle of kind words that someone out there may need to hear.
Please do follow me on Queen of the World Pageant on Instagram. You can also find me on Jennifer E. Lloyd on Instagram. I have a website, mrsjenniferlloyd.com, as well as on Facebook. I'd love to hear from all of y'all. One thing that I want to share with you that I discovered, this is a secret, opportunities are relationships. So really hear that out. Opportunities are relationships. So make sure you say hi to somebody. Make sure that you take advantage of that room that you walk in and just introduce yourself, because you never know where that opportunity will lead you.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. My name is Nic Blaize. You have tuned in to Beauty Queens Galore, the resource page, and I have the pleasure of bringing into your world today Mrs. Queen of the World, the amazing and insightful Jennifer Lloyd. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us, and I can't wait to continue to follow your journey and just to stay tuned with all the amazing, incredible things. Your family's lucky. Alice is lucky to have you as a title holder. And thank you so much for keeping us on this journey with you. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Nic. Right. You too. Thank you so very much.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Ciao.